Hello and welcome back to the Schooner Pod. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we got Jameson, we got Ty, and we got y'all. We are live yet again to talk about OU's absolute stomping of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Well, if you're looking at the box score, it was a stomping. Overall, pretty decisive beatdown of what was the best team in the Big 12 prior to this. Jameson, we talked about this a little bit in our Pick'em show. We both were very confident OU would have a very good game. Did OU satisfy that for you?
They did exactly what I said could happen, where I said it could get ugly. If we got out to a hot start and we can send the pass rush on that offensive line, it's ball game. And that's what we did. And we had a horrible second and third quarter, and we still managed to stomp them into the ground. That shows you how significantly, we have a really good defensive team. Whenever we come out hot in the first quarter, and in the past we've gotten conservative with our play calling and not done as well in the second and third, that's when the other teams have came back in the past. Our defense did not let that happen. We weren't playing a scrub team. So this is something really to bat an eye at. This is something really good.
Yeah, it absolutely is something to be proud about. Beating Oklahoma State is a solid deal. Ty, I know you definitely thought highly of the Cowboys coming into this. So how impressed are you about the Sooners getting a very solid win here?
Yeah, it was really cool. We were, I was really high on them. There had been mounting evidence not to be, but yeah, it was really impressive, and hopefully, this speaks more to just the quality of team that OU has evolved into than maybe OSU being a paper tiger the whole time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say OSU is a paper tiger. I think OU did what they needed to do early to neutralize Oklahoma State. Really getting at Spencer Sanders early. You never want to hurt a guy, but he was getting pounded early in that first quarter. Obviously had to come out of the game, didn't return until the fourth. So you can't really say Sanders was rattled because, he physically could not play. But in general, OU caused so much havoc in that backfield, made it really hard for OSU's offense to really do anything. I believe if you look at their first down stats, they weren't doing anything unless we kind of gave it to them, Buki. But before we'll get into the defense, let's just start out hot with the offense here. So usually we wait till the end to give out our game ball, but I think we should just go ahead and have a debate right now. Who gets the game ball? Is it Spencer Rattler or is it Ramondre Stevenson? So is it neither, Jameson? Who is it, Jameson? Who gets the offensive game ball?
Me personally, Ramondre had a good game, but they keyed on him early, and there was a lot of chunk plays at the end of the game where he got his yardage and makes himself look good in the box sheet. Spencer Rattler had a really good game. He had one bad throw that it could have been interception, but the guy to get the game ball to is Mikey Henderson. I'll sit on that one. That dude, the way he was having the cross routes, he had a big game, with Stogner being out. And he's a true freshman. He came in to where I'm going to be a role on this team. I can play running back. I can play halfback. I can do whatever you need me to do. And I think he's the game ball recipient. It doesn't have to be the guy who's the best in the box score. This guy was efficient every single time he touched the ball. Every single time he touched the ball, there was something good. So that's why I'm giving it to Mikey.
Yeah, and I definitely did have Mikey circled for a feature, talking about him because he was excellent, not just, obviously running the football, but OU's passing attack coming mostly out of the backfield. You saw Stevenson have a lot of receiving yards as well as Henderson. Ty, do you agree with that? What do you think Henderson deserves this kind of surprise, dark horse MVP or anyone else?
No, I don't disagree. I mean, Jameson's right. We've been very open historically here on the Schooner Pod to be kind of unconventional with our game balls, and it's like Jameson said. The box score it almost never tells the true story. But I'm gonna go pretty conventional. I'm gonna go with Stevenson. Spencer was great, but can always can always continue to improve. Stevenson really, I think for me, because this was a team that I thought he would kind of, at least skip a beat with, and he absolutely didn't. So.
Yeah, that's really the thing about Stevenson. 144 yards just flat out speak for themselves. 141 yards speak for themselves. Granted, it was on 26 carries. The guy was a beast. Henderson, though, I think absolutely was the X factor. 20 yards rushing, but his impact was truly through the receiving game with 61 yards on 3 receptions. The man made it happen when it counted. I got to go with Spencer Rattler, though. I think he did an excellent job as the maestro of the offense, really kept things together, showed a poise that we've wanted to see all season. And, he's gotten better, but he could do it against Kansas. He could do it against Texas Tech. But doing it against an Oklahoma State defense that is as solid as it is, that's pretty great. Let's talk a little bit more about our receivers. And particularly, a theme we've noticed throughout the season has been the wideouts being pretty balanced. No one really having a big game. That continued here. Our leading receiver is Marvin Mims with 65 yards, only 3 receptions. What do we take from that? Do you like the balance, Jameson, or are you I don't know? Are you kind of put off by it?
I mean, if you read off Spencer Rattler's stats, where he had 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for 300 yards, there's nothing to be mad about when it comes down to the wide receivers. You could see that Spencer did feel a slight bit uncomfortable taking away his go-to guy in Stogner. We can all say, Mims is like our highest rated receiver on the team and he makes all the spark plays. But, Stogner is Rattler's guy. And you can definitely tell that there was kind of like a little bit of indecisiveness when it came down to Spencer in that fact. But he played stellar. He got the ball to Theo Weiss, got his first touchdown of the season, then his second touchdown in the same game. That was great. Nobody on the offense had more than 3 catches. And, the one thing that I don't want to forget about making a reference here is that Marvin Mims catch in the first quarter was beautiful. That was a beautiful catch.
Beautiful throw, too. That back shoulder, just incredible pass. But, the effort to meet the ball there and really get that, incredible from Mims. That guy is going to be playing on Sunday someday. So, Ty, I kind of want to talk about how much of the offense has been kind of being played out of the backfield. So not only did we see Ramondre Stevenson carry the ball 26 times, which is quite a few times for an OU running back in the past couple of years, but we saw both him and Henderson top 3 in receiving yards this game. Mm-hmm. How do you? What am I trying to say? How are you liking how OU is playing instead of, really opening it up out there to the receivers versus, letting the running backs and the H-backs really eat here?
Yeah, so it's I feel like that could be maybe kind of a complex answer that, Lincoln Riley might be the only one that they can answer that. It's
fair.
We have very few plays that are sort of one look. So that, that factor could speak more to the receivers that we have maybe and just their ability. I liked how much we were rotating people. But, you see guys still get gassed and there's some conditioning things that'll improve, like with Mims, just a super young guy. We got our 1 play of effort out of Rambo as usual for 18 yards. That's right in his, average. We're going to get 1 15-plus yard play out of him and then he's going to be useless for the rest of the game. So I think if you were to look at sort of our plays, and I'll try to, keep my answer short here, but I think that Stevenson, especially, picked up some of those plays that maybe traditionally would have been like a Stogner play. So you have your receivers, out there spreading the defense and you give them the first look, but, that's where you get that tight end release, or, a tight end play across the middle that you can take. And I think maybe when you go back and look at the game tapes, some of the backfield catches maybe accounted for that tight end threat.
Absolutely. Hey, Jameson, I think you're accidentally muted.
I've been staying muted just in case Ivy and Douglas go crazy.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm doing that completely on purpose. I'm alone here, so I don't have Ashley to wrangle them. Thank God they're asleep right now, but
Yeah.
Hey, that's okay. I've been kind of muting myself too because I just moved apartments, as both of y'all know, I think, and I'm right next to a dog park, and they just decided to get loud. But anyways,
Yeah. Programming note: I'm also dealing with Penny right now, so we might get some barks from me as well. So
we're a pro dog podcast. We love dogs, particularly the scrappy ones. I think we can quantify all y'all's dogs as scrappy ones. I have 0 dogs, so none of them are scrappy. But overall, as an offense, I guess what would you give this a grade? If I'm talking like elementary school, A+ to F-, just kind of quick off the top, Jameson.
I'd say B+. It'd be an A if there wasn't that drought in the second and third quarter. I don't know how much of that was stellar OSU defense or that much was conservative play calls. The famous Lincoln putting his foot off the gas, keeping his good plays for later. So I'll give it a B+.
B+ is really good there. I'm just going to give it an A- just because it worked when it needed to. It was crisp. I really dislike whenever they kind of take it slow. I feel like that gets teams beat, especially the SOU team. But the defense was playing lights out, so I'll take it. So give me an A- on OU there.
yeah, it's hard to back off and then get back on the gas. So that's definitely an issue that I think is very specifically a Lincoln Riley thing. But I'm going to go with Bobby on an A-. It was definitely, I think, an A performance. I mean, when you go out there and score as easily as we did right at the start, I don't think that it can be anything else, because I do think that the lack of scoring is a Lincoln and his play calling. It's just who he is. He's not going to blow people out.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I forgot to even bring this up. Offensive line, Jameson, were you impressed?
Yeah, they did all right. They did not actually themselves give up a sack. We had 3 sacks against us, and that was more so off of our H-backs and running back slots. They could have done better. I wasn't too happy with them, but there's nothing too bad to say. Give them an average grade, move on. They have better games ahead.
Absolutely. Also, shout out on my rewatch. Shout out to Drake Stoops for just running around a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That man would. I swear, Lincoln was just having him go back and forth for no reason. It was incredible. I would love to see the mileage counter of what he actually ran in that entire night, because
and he was killing blocking too. A really good blocker, and you'd never expect that from little Drake Stoops. Like, he gives effort, and that's what we need. That's especially what we need with Rambo out there too.
Yeah, he's developed into a really top-notch, really tough-nosed slot receiver. Love that. Love to see that. Let's move on to our defense. Let's just get this started. Jameson, well, actually, let's go with Ty. I already talked to Jameson. Ty, was this the performance of the year from the Sooners?
It's hard to argue against the stats and what OSU had going for them. I can't decide if the defense on the field or the defense in the north end of the stadium was better.
Oh no, we'll get into that later.
We'll tap on that later. Yeah, but it was definitely up there, and I know that Jameson is chomping at the bit to talk about a specific player. So,
I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about him yet, because I want to talk about the good first. We're a positive podcast.
No, I was talking about a good thing.
Oh, are we talking about the D-line?
David Ugwebu, right?
Yeah, or as
no, Buki watches the Thai thing. We'll get into that.
What's the pronunciation on the replay? Ugawubabu?
We used to call him David Ugawugabu. We didn't understand. It was just a silent.
Chris Fowler definitely called him Ugu Wabu on the replay. It was pretty funny. It's almost as bad as Calcutta, but Jameson, one of the shining stars of the first season of Cruden Quarter, pulled up big and probably the play of the game with that just massive. I mean, you can look at the replay if you want. You can dispute it. You can dispute it if you want. That's an interception that is remarkable, tipping the ball, then catching it. Incredible stuff from David Ugwebu. What do you
I
guys say?
I was so happy to see him. He got the start at middle linebacker. You know, we've been shifting him more towards that with Deshaun White not doing as well. And we moved Deshaun White over to the will. And that was a great move. This is the best linebacking game I've seen from the Sooners thus far. It's been one of our weaker parts of our defense. It's kind of been a toss-up. It's either the D-backs or the linebackers have been worse. But now they looked awesome with Deshaun White at the will. That's what he played whenever he was next to K9, whenever we thought he was going to do really well moving forward. And we're learning that this might be his spot. And Ugwebu is the middle linebacker moving forward. He's got the athleticism to do it. Honestly, great game from the linebackers. There's nothing bad to say. And that play is just like the cherry on top.
Absolutely. And, you know, again, Ugwebu, very solid performance. But you got to give a shout out as well to Nick Benito. Incredible performance, pressuring Spencer Sanders. Obviously, the shining star of the game is on the defensive line, but that doesn't happen without David Ugwebu as well and Nick Benito. We have a couple Oklahoma State comments here. Hold on. Shout out Jamal James out here, coming from a proud OSU alumni. That was one of the best OU defensive games. And they were able to fly around, stop Hubbard and Wallace. I agree. Jamal, you know good defense right there. That was very aggressive, very nice defense from Oklahoma. So thank you for the kind words about the defense. But I think that's what it boiled down to on defense is they just had this attitude about them. And that really all stemmed from the defensive line. Ronnie Perkins, Perion Winfrey, and Isaiah Thomas, all absolute beast up front. So, Ty, how crazy is it that we have a defensive line that is just this dominant after the years we've had of, honestly, mediocre D-line play?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive for sure. And I think at this point you can't argue, that Perkins coming back has not been the single, maybe if you could point to one thing that really made a difference in OU's season. I think it would have to be him. And I know that's a whole nother conversation, but it's super awesome. And it's like you said, this is the game defensively that they're going to show and they're going to reference from here on out when we talk about speed D, like the defensive play and just like, like our commenter said, their ability to fly around and, shift themselves to what they needed to the play and to play smart, flexible, dynamic defense. That's what you're thinking that you're getting when you start to sell that speed D. So it was super, super cool to see. And I think the D line is the biggest part of that because there hasn't been a whole lot else that's changed, minus some personnel shifts. But yeah, him coming back and this D line getting locked on has been a night and day difference for OU defensively.
I mean, he's just been absolutely unstoppable back there. Even when he's not getting the sack, not getting the tackle for loss, he's creating chaos. You got to love it. However, Jameson, you think the guy's NFL bound?
That's a good question. He could definitely be a good, second, third pick ceiling kind of guy right now. But if he keeps this up and he returns, he's a first-round pick. There's no doubt about it. The edge rusher is one of the most important, if not the most important position in NFL when it comes down to the defense. That's why you see everyone flock to those. Joey Bosa got the big payday, the highest-paid player in the NFL because he's an edge rusher. It'd be stupid for Ronnie Perkins to not invest in himself and try to get that first-round pick over the second and third-round pick because the money discrepancy is so huge there. The thing is, moving forward into next season, who's he going to have next to him? And hopefully will he have a really solid defensive line around him, make him look as good that he is this season? This game last Saturday, we saw Perion Winfrey get the start, which we haven't seen in the past. We usually have seen him not come out for a little while, which we've always wondered why, if it's an attitude thing or there's something in the locker room that we don't know. Benito could definitely come out. And I don't think Isaiah Thomas would leave, but if Isaiah Thomas stayed, Ronnie Perkins stayed, that's a deadly defensive line moving forward. I'm pretty sure Perion Winfrey will leave. Reports are saying that he just doesn't do school. He just does not care at all about college. He wants out, and that's probably what stems from him not getting as much playing time as we've given him in the beginning of games. So yeah, I think it would be good for Ronnie to come back, but if he gets like draft grades at the end of the season and continues to play like he is as a first round pick, he'd be stupid to leave. But I think he needs to invest in himself.
Absolutely. And that's one of the kind of more interesting things I saw in college is one time Bob Stoops came and spoke to our sports media team and like kind of broke down how he breaks down a decision to leave as a NFL draft prospect. And the biggest thing is, look, if you have a chance to get top 5 money, you take that, because that is the type of money that can sustain your family for years and years to come. That's the type of money you could retire on if you have a couple bad years in the NFL. So I imagine Lincoln probably gives a similar presentation. But again, like, that is a big money position. Come back another year. Like, you can get that at Oklahoma. This is a defense that is, well touted, well established now at this point. We saw Kenneth Murray get a first round pick. I mean, that's crazy. So why not try to get top 5 sort of grade potentially? So we'll see. But I gotta say, these past couple games, as impressive as I've seen probably since Gerald McCoy at the D-line position at Oklahoma. So with the good, there is also the bad. And we got to turn our eye to the defensive backs. And everyone knows it. It's Buki. Once again, causing mistakes, causing mishaps, getting penalties where they shouldn't. Ty, I'm just going to let you go on this one, man.
I don't even really have what were you guys expecting? Honestly, we had a couple good weeks where there was nothing bad. Okay, and you have to remember, when simply not doing something bad is worthy of praise, the expectation is that you're going to continually do bad things. So I'm not surprised. There's no need for a big monologue here. He was 15th on the team this game in tackles, key player out there. And really the only notable thing is when he started screwing up, Kirk Herbstreit was like, why is this guy a starter at a school like OU? So if you guys have it recorded, you should be able to go back. I don't have a timestamp for you, but it's in there. But yeah, that's our Buki chat for the day.
It's OSU's first and only touchdown was sprung by a Buki. An unnecessary personal foul, just laughing at a dude, talking crap. It's ridiculous. Jameson, what are your thoughts on Buki? Going back to the old Buki. I feel like it's the Bugs Bunny with the gun meme all over again.
He just kept pointing at him. I was like, put the finger down, Buki. Put it down. He kept the finger up right at him. Like, oh gosh. And then it was a late flag too. The ref was just like, I don't want to throw it. It's a rivalry game, And he just kept holding it up, kept going, kept riding the line. The ref was like, finally, I was like, I can't let that one go. That was just too bad. And it was on a third down too. That's like in the ref's instinct to not be the guy to decide, I'm pushing you across the line into a first down. He doesn't want to be that guy. All in all, Buki had a good game, as a defensive back. He did decent on that end and good in coverage. But that's just not acceptable. That play is essential to giving up a big pass. 15 yards, especially, that is the difference between 6 or 7 points and no points. So, honestly, inexcusable. And to go back to the Kirk Herbstreit point that Ty was talking about, it really does make you think. Lincoln pulls him after that and then immediately puts him back into the game. What does that do? It doesn't do anything, really. Obviously, you haven't seen anything work when it comes down to Buki and learning how to corral his energy. Lincoln's press conference came out with today. They're like, how do you deal with that? And we love his energy, but that was too much, and he knows it's too much. He's a good team guy, and he takes it in stride, always does well with criticism. If he does well with criticism, you got to do something more. You've got to do something more because you got to stop the plays. He can be a contributor on us moving in the future, but you got to actually show something that he's actually getting punished rather than just taking him out like a little dog and then pushing him back out to play again.
Yeah, it's about like actually having your punishment fit. And I guess partially some of that is we immediately got scored on after taking him out. So maybe there's something to that. Maybe, I don't know, but still, come on, man. You just you gotta control yourself.
When it's
I just I will never know what it's like to play main college football, of course, but I've never like even playing like middle school football or anything like that. I would never think to just like point at a dude for like 45 seconds. Yeah, that's just blatantly going to get you in trouble. And granted, look, here's the thing. That's not even the most egregious thing that happened in this game. Shout out to Ronnie Perkins for that fantastic, like, I don't know, little helmet tap thing he did to Chuba. I don't even know if he got flagged for it.
No.
Did Chuba even play this game? I know we have OSU fans listening, so I don't want to.
No. Hey, this is
amazing.
44
amazing
yards,
running back, 8 carries, 44 yards. Woo!
Tylan Wallace, 4 receptions, 68 yards.
Because I have to clarify this every time. You can roll tape backs. I've hated Chuba Hubbard since long before this became like a political thing, so don't think it's that. This guy is the most overrated player in the Big 12 besides that other overrated running back that plays for Kansas.
Oh, God.
See, he's not good. He's okay. Like, people are like, oh, but he has amazing stats. But then he plays a team like OU, or he plays like any other team with like a pulse of a defense, and he has less than 50 yards. Like, that's not a good running back.
I don't know about that.
That's like me saying that Mordecai is a good quarterback because he only has like 3 incompletions this year.
I'll actually believe Ty on this one. It's a this year that Chuba has not been a good running back, and I think I don't know if there's a want to in him to be a good running back. I don't think he has like the flair and the fire behind him. One, his coaching situation obviously is shoddy, and there might be some things behind the scenes he's not too happy. 2, does he regret not going to the NFL draft last year? Should he have gone? And then 3, their offensive line is pitiful. So what makes Chuba have that flair to back up on, like, I really want to go out there and just go run through a brick wall for somebody? Because my O-line ain't helping me. My coach ain't helping me. Like, what's going to go on here? The only thing he has to back up on himself is his NFL draft. And as a running back, he's got to look after himself and make sure he doesn't get hurt because running back shelf lives are so low. So I don't see anything going forward with him to have any passion to be a hard runner. And you see it this season. Well,
I mean, just talking about this Oklahoma State performance, they had 2 weeks to prepare for OU. Awful coaching, honestly, from Gundy. They absolutely just shell shock from the get-go. They looked exactly like you thought a meek Oklahoma State team would look like. It was a pathetic performance. Way too conservative, in the red zone. You just didn't see a spark from him. That one punt on their own 37.
Yeah, what was the Barstool tweet on that one? What is it they said? The state of Oklahoma pays this man $4 million a year to do this.
It's just, I mean, come on. Where's the heart? If I'm an Oklahoma State fan, I'm furious. Gundy gets you where you need to go and has taken this program to heights they've never seen before. But you want to see some spice. You want to see some energy. You want to see him at least just try to do something new. Just try to out Fox OU. Do something weird. But it just wasn't there for him this year. And it just hadn't. I mean, 2014 when they're beating up on Cody Thomas? Congrats. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2011 when you were like a way better team. But other than that, where's it been for Mike Gundy? Where's it been for Oklahoma State? OU just mentally has an edge on them where they just do whatever they want, and it's incredible, and I love it. But as an Oklahoma State, if you were an Oklahoma State fan, you'd be furious. So that's all I got to say about that. The mental edge there, it's tough. Let's kind of pivot on to our defensive game ball. I'm sorry, Ty, if I want. Do you have a spicy?
No, it's worth. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
After the game. Katie referred to Mike Gundy as the oh my god, no, I forgot his name. Well, okay, it was funny.
I was like, Michigan sir, Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh, the Big 12.
And that's a yikes burger right there. That's a huge yikes burger.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It would have been funnier had I just gone right through it.
Oh,
Ty was
my
like,
God.
me, sir. And Bobby's like,
Yes.
let's pivot. And wait, we got something great.
And then he fumbled it. He fumbled the bag.
I pulled a Mike Gundy.
I will say I did get a message from a family member of mine who's a big Oklahoma State fan. He said the only reason you guys won the game yesterday is because you had superior players combined with better coaches. Anyone can do that. Wait until next year. Wait until next year when we get Les Miles.
Oh God, it's going to be worse. Have we not seen that it's going to be so much worse?
I know. Kansas is a disaster. Anyways,
no, here we go.
Jamal said another comment. He said Gundy needs to be fired this year. I've been calling for his job for the last 5 years.
No, I agree.
I have nothing bad to say about that comment because, what do you expect him to do whenever he's getting these horrible, horrible athletes every single year? He's an embarrassment of a recruiter.
Well,
he does everything else to
recruiting going forward.
Yeah. Oklahoma State had like cool facilities for like 3 years, and then everyone caught up.
And I want to say this in like the most respectful way possible, and I think this kind of wraps up what we're all saying. This is Mike Gundy's ceiling. Mike Gundy's ceiling is being a decent top 25 team that's still always going to lose to OU and always going to lose to Texas and probably going to drop another game to someone else in conference. Like their ceiling is not any greater than that, I don't think, under Mike Gundy, which is why they should hire Mike Stoops.
with that,
they should hire Tom Herman.
Oh no! With that, let's pivot to our defensive game ball. I'm just going to give it to the easy one. It's Ronnie Perkins, defensive player of the week for the Big 12. There are 2 games. I don't care. But the man created havoc back there. Incredible player, absolutely dominant, and honestly has a really serious case to be the best player on OU's roster this year. I think you could really make that argument. Ty, who's got your game ball for the defense?
No, James is getting me mad. You called on me before. Maybe. But mine is, and I promise I'm not just cherry picking from the top of the box score here, but it's Woody Washington. He was a freshman.
Woody was great.
8 tackles, 6 solo tackles as a freshman quarterback in a big rivalry game and stuff. And in that pressure, that was awesome to see. He's getting mine.
Jameson?
I'll go with Ronnie Perkins. I want to give it to WVU, but the interception was great. That was one good play, and he was solid for the rest of the game. But Ronnie Perkins was a monster. He was the reason that our defensive backs looked somewhat okay versus team. Spencer Sanders had no time to get the ball to them. All they could do was throw up deep balls and just hope for pass interferences, which worked sometimes. But that's what happens when you have a good pass rush. You can't let receivers run their routes. And the only best thing they can do is know the guys that, like Trey Brown, doesn't turn his head when they throw a deep ball and just hope for the pass interference. It's just a hope. It's not anything other than that.
Yeah, that really says a lot. But all right, that's all we have for the game itself. But as anyone following on Twitter knows, there's a lot of extracurriculars going around, particularly surrounding an incident that happened after a field goal Oklahoma State hit. As everyone knows who's an OU fan, there's a tradition where you take the ball and try to chuck it out of the stadium after a field goal is made or missed. And it appears like some chicanery went down here as Oklahoma State planted a student manager in the stands. I guess there was a tussle for the ball, and he ended up breaking his ribs. I was really worried. I honestly wasn't even considering talking about this because I felt like this would get us fully canceled, and it still might. It still very well might.
Canceled for what?
I don't know. Good point. Like canceled before he even got like off the ground, But anyways, so a lot of discourse has been going on about, is this too much? What's going on with OU fans? A lot of pretty dumb OU fans are defending the people who accidentally broke this guy's ribs. A lot of Oklahoma State fans are trying to act like they're, I don't know, morally superior to all of us, as they've never done anything to anyone ever not throwing anything. Nope, they wouldn't do nothing. They're just kind little folks up in Stillwater, just trying to get some biscuits and cinnamon rolls at Granny's Kitchen in the morning. They don't want to hurt nobody. Let's just throw it out. Look, OSU was ridiculous for sitting someone up in the stands for that. The guy was ridiculous for wanting to jostle up like he was trying to get I don't know. It looked like a Hail Mary up for him. He was ridiculous to get in that scrum. And OU fans were ridiculous for creating the scrum. They're all idiots involved here. Everyone's a moron. Nobody was on the right. It's stupid that we're having this conversation. So get off your damn high horse if you're an Oklahoma State fan and admit that someone wearing crimson was wrong if you're a Gooner. It's Gooner gold. It's OSU fans acting righteous. It's a total mess, and I hate it. Jameson, I'll let you start on this.
It's just so great. Like you alluded to it. You get the two sides. You get the Gooners like, this is our tradition. We throw the ball out of the stadium. Don't take away my tradition. We've been doing that for what, like 8 years, 9, 10 years, not that long. It's not really that much of a tradition. I remember games where we didn't do that. I remember the people that were happy to throw it back onto the field whenever I was a kid. It's not been that long of a tradition, so don't act like this is something that's taking away your rights. Quit. That's just Oklahoma for you. But moving on, there's people on social media that think like how dare he break his rib. Who knows if this guy's just jumping to the bleachers broke his rib. Maybe he just overdid it. Ribs break. Drew Brees broke 11 ribs recently. That happens. And they recover from. I probably broke a rib falling off the boat this summer. It's just happens. You move on from them. Broken ribs are very easy to heal, and you don't do anything about it. There's not any kind of medical treatment that they need to pay for. There's no suing there. It's like a bruise. So stop. Just really stop.
More than just watch the video. It's not like a bunch of OU fans were just wailing on him or anything.
Yeah.
He just jumped up for this, and they were kind of tussling for the ball.
It was jackpot. They went for the jackpot. And what do you know? I want the ball. You want the ball. I've got alcohol in my system. The college kid who's on the equipment manager is trying to make a name for himself. He's being a tryhard for his job, and he's taking it way too seriously. There's some people that are saying on Twitter, saying before that, he was ripping balls out of people's hands before they could throw them, and then talking trash to them after he did it. He had a bad attitude. That probably the people that were going for the ball whenever he got hurt didn't know he was doing that. But that just shows you that this guy had some flair and was going all out for whatever he was doing. It was a total joke on all ends.
It is an embarrassment all ends. Ty, I'm sure you have some sort of spicy take.
No. So I want to preface mine. I'm going to continue to say this the whole time, but there's no excuse for that for anyone. Our fans should not have acted the way that they did. It was for sure Gooners. It's only Gooners that sit there. A lot of them were literal children, which is kind of embarrassing on multiple levels. One, that parents are allowing their kids to get into brawls, and two, that a grown-ass adult got their rib broken probably by a child. But yeah, all joking aside, there's no excuse for that behavior. But and I'm not trying to say this to excuse OU fans or specifically the fans involved, because it's not everyone. But I'm not trying to excuse their actions, but there were several things that had to go wrong for this to occur in the first place. One, we pay thousands and thousands of dollars for there to be event staff and security there. And if you watch that video of the fight, there are as many security personnel standing there with their hands in their pockets, not doing anything to stop it, as there are people involved in the scrum. That is a disgrace. That should be, some sort of there is a definite level of responsibility on those individuals who are hired for a job and did not do it when it came down to it. And again, that doesn't excuse what the OU fans did, but ultimately, and I would be saying this if it was completely reversed and it was OU, a deliberate decision was made by some sort of leadership in the OSU athletic department to put a lone student equipment manager in the middle of a bunch of drunken fans at a nighttime rivalry game, all alone with the specific purpose of trying to take the football away from people that he knew were going to be rowdy, that he knew were going to be drinking, and that he knew were not going to take favorably to an OSU person up there trying to do that. That is an absolute leadership failure, and those people should be embarrassed. Not embarrassed because I understand it's a rivalry game. They want to mess with what they think our tradition is. That's fine. But don't commit your people to a losing fight. They committed that kid knowing the risks and did not put their people in a position to win if it came down to it. And it came down to it. And now they got a kid with a broken rib. And there's definitely people that are going to be held accountable. And it was inexcusable, but it's on them. They are, we're in charge of that person. That's what leadership is. You can't make the decision to send somebody out in a shitty situation. And then when they pay the price for it, you just sit there and go, oh, well, I guess I learned. You're a shitty leader, and they're bad at their jobs. And, we'll see if we're going to say their names out later. But yeah. And then again, that doesn't excuse the people that actually assaulted him. But yeah, in conclusion, I've broken a rib before too. It's not that bad. It's literally like a bruise. I've had bruises that hurt worse than when I broke a rib. So
the big thing is you don't want it to puncture your lung. But I mean, if they would have came out and said there was a punctured lung rather than a broken rib, when it comes out broken rib, it's a rib bruise. Like it's cracked a little bit. It's going to heal on its own. I'll say this. Like with one more thing before we move on and just talk about West Virginia. He did not have it coming. This equipment manager did not have it coming.
Yeah,
he had every single right to be out there. But this is like OSU sending a person on their staff out to the end of Bourbon Street down a dark alley at 11 p.m. at night and saying good luck. Like he does not deserve to get mugged, but he's probably going to. It's just you don't put yourself in a high risk situation. It's as simple as that. But he did not deserve it. But that was just a stupid decision.
I'm not saying that he deserved it either.
I know.
I'm saying they should have known that could have happened, and they should have thought about how they were going to protect their people if they were going to put them in that situation, and they didn't.
Well, the reasonable directive is be like, hey, try to get the ball if it's there. If not, we'll have someone there to catch it.
If they just wanted the ball, they knew about the tradition. That's why he was in the stands and not down below the net. If they just wanted the ball, they would have had him out on the back end of the stadium. They know where it lands every time. They deliberately wanted to mess with that, whether it's a tradition or not. They wanted to interfere with that and did it in a manner that risked their people's health. And that's unacceptable.
Well, I agree. And, again, just tell them hey, the ball's there, get it. If not, we'll have someone catch it. Don't tell them to be DeAndre Hopkins out here with a bunch of drunkards and try to hop over them all. When I first heard about the incident, I thought he was running down the steps and some drunk hillbilly tackled
shoved him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was in the mix already. He was trying to D-hop him. And that's just a bad idea. That's just a bad idea in general. Obviously, if OU fans chill the hell out. Obviously, the same with the equipment manager. That was just a stupid directive. But all in all, embarrassing across the board. But let's not act I don't know. Let's not act like this isn't there's a victim here. There are a lot of idiots here.
So. Yeah, I'm watching this right now, actually. And at one point, there are literal Boy Scouts that try to do more to stop this fight than our hired security.
The yellow coat.
I'm not joking. You guys can go watch it. There's
an
adult Boy Scout person and then a little one in a jacket. And he's the kid. The Boy Scout kid is the only one that gets in there. And then the adult feels committed, I guess, because the other one is. And the CSC people are just chilling.
An embarrassment.
I have seen a better reaction from the security staff when people vape in the student section than I have from an actual fight that resulted in people going to the doctor's office.
An embarrassment on all fronts.
That's oh my god, yeah. That's a meme coming later.
I mean,
OU security when someone vapes in the stadium. OU security when there's a fight in the stadium.
Well, I mean, look, if anyone listens to this, I'm sure someone will give us flack for not taking this is unacceptable. We need to be better.
I said it 5 times, and I said it because I believe it, not to cover my own ass.
Yeah, because we're being rational. It is unacceptable. It's horrible behavior from these OU fans, but let's not act like it's not hilarious, kind of. It's not even that funny. It's just an embarrassment on all fronts.
Well,
it's
yeah, and I'm not saying that. Yeah, and I'm not saying it to excuse it. And I know no one is going to be in these positions to make decisions is listening probably, but we can't say that this was only a failure on the fact, because this would have happened in hundreds of other stadiums. There were multiple points of failure that led to this. And if we want to really think about how we're going to make this not happen again, we got to look at all the things that led up to it, because it was not a single event or a single point of failure. It was a chain of events.
Yeah. I will say before we move on, favorite tweet on the entire situation was from LA Schooner, who said, I remember, what was it? An OU fan once ripped the nuts off a UT fan, so I actually consider this personal growth. That actually happened in like 2007. It was like some trashy, honestly, I think it was a Henry Hudson's. It was a Henry Hudson's memorial.
No.
That really happened. It was really a dispute. So again, personal growth.
I really thought that was more of a metaphorical statement when I saw that.
One time a Nebraska player punched a roughneck. That was fun. It was like 2004. Anyways, let's move on to West Virginia.
Wouldn't have happened if he had a gun.
Oh, no. All right, let's really move on to West Virginia. All right, so the Mountaineers come into this game. I don't know what to think of them still. They've been improving over this. Jameson is just done. Look, the Mountaineers have been improving over this season, but really, I still don't know what to think of them. They have Jarrett Dagey, who I think is, Jarrett Dagey, sure. I know how to pronounce his name. I'm just saying that. His name's now, I'm just calling him Jarrett Doge. So Jarrett Doge over here, solid quarterback here and there. He does what he needs to do, whatever. He's not going to beat you, but he's not going to beat himself. But really, they're led by Letty Brown, very solid running back. Here we go again, another number one defense in the Big 12. West Virginia has been putting up numbers against everyone they played. Unfortunately, they haven't played OU or Iowa State, so take what you may from that. Overall, middle of the road team. I don't think they're harmless, but I'm not going to exactly call them like a threat, So Jameson, going into this, what are you looking forward to from the Sooners in Morgantown, our last road game of the season? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about the Mountaineers?
I'd say I'm about a 5 worried. The way we're playing right now is really hard to beat because we're just across the board just playing great on our best game. The thing to watch for in this game is our offensive line versus Oklahoma State's D-line. We kind of got beat up a little bit. It was all right, like I said, but there's obvious some moments where they were stopping our run pretty solid. And they're giving some good, decent pressure to our quarterbacks. Now, the Stills brothers for West Virginia, those are the big 2 names that everybody knows about when it comes down to West Virginia. Seeing them versus our offensive line is going to be really big moving forward. And if they can get through and impact us. But the thing is, we also got to remember that they also got a guy named Akeem Mesidor that's really, really good too. It's always flashes the games that I've watched. He has 5 sacks on the season. That's also on that defensive line. So they've got some problems on the defensive line. So let's see if our big men up front can show out.
Absolutely. It's going to be another game that will be decided in the trenches and got to show out. Ty, thoughts on the West Virginia Mountaineers? I know you have a buddy out there. I don't know if you have any intel on them or not, but
no, not really.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing really super notable about them this year.
They're the most middle of the road team out there, but any thoughts on West Virginia?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we've seen 2 very different West Virginia teams this year. I know I've mentioned that almost every time I've talked about them. I don't think that either one of those teams can really beat the OU team that we have right now. But there is something to keep in mind. We are traveling there. In West Virginia, I know they have not beat us in the Big 12. And, some of the games haven't even been close. But West Virginia always cares a lot about this game. They're not going to come in like Oklahoma State did last week. They come in wanting to win and really passionate about this game for whatever reason. So I have a feeling, I don't know what's going to happen coaching-wise and schematically, but the players are going to give it their best shot. I would not expect this team to come in flat, and I just hope there's not a hangover with OU coming off this really big rivalry win.
Yeah, it's always a concern going into Morgantown for me. Neil Brown, solid coach. He hasn't gotten his system there really rolling in Morgantown yet. The team's improved as everything's gone on, but overall, if OU plays their game, if we see the Oklahoma we've seen since Texas, I think the Sooners are going to be just fine. But if you look at the series, it's always been close. Well, except for 2016. That was kind of a beatdown. But anyways.
They were still really passionate about it, though, even then. Like
they were passionate.
The players themselves.
Incredibly passionate in defeat. They West Virginia does a lot of jawing. They might not lose. They might not win. They've never beaten OU as a member of the Big 12. But they do a lot of jawing. They love to jaw.
There will be shoving in words. Well, our freaking team is going to try to say words to people the whole time, but there will be shoving and stuff coming at us for sure.
Yeah, and the Sooners, I might add, almost a lock to be wearing the cream Rough Riders for this, as they have every trip to Morgantown since 2000 and I believe 12. So.
Do we think, just to speculate, do we think we're going to see the black accented helmets potentially?
The black stripes. I don't know if they'd be so bold to do that again. Honestly, after the K-State loss, I don't see that. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, not from you guys, but they were warned. I mean, first.
Okay. All right, let's move on. West Virginia doesn't get a big recap, but nobody really does anyways. So any West Virginia fans who find this, don't get mad at us. All right.
If you're a West Virginia fan and you're listening to this, go back and watch the weekend spread. That's where we talk about them most. We all three have been pretty complimentary, I think, about West Virginia, especially with the performance that they've done this year. So I'm very high on West Virginia. I'm a big West Virginia fan.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jameson, I'm sure you have something for us. Do you? Indeed.
Of course I do.
Well, I guess I'll hit the music then.
Jamison.
Yes. What is this?
Jamison.
This is a
Routine corner with Jamison.
everybody dancing. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was an interesting week for the Sooners because we got a couple of targets on campus to watch the game. One of them being Bryce Foster, the 5-star offensive guard from Texas. We did not expect him to come in. He kind of just showed up, and it seemed like he wanted to be secretive about it, but it's kind of hard to whenever you're the mountain and you're on campus and Schooner's going to recognize you. So that got out pretty quick. One man that was people knew that were coming in was Remington Strickland, who is also out of Texas, and he is a more recent offer at the offensive line position. He is a take. He would be an offensive guard / center position moving forward. It seems like he's leaning towards OU. There's really no buzz on when he would pick a team to commit to moving forward, but Remington Strickland as an offensive guard is a name moving forward. He would not be taking any of the offensive lineman's spots. He is not like a backup. Like if we didn't get Tristan Lee, if we didn't get Savion Byrd, if we didn't get Bryce Foster, we'd still take Strickland moving forward due to probably EJ and Domo Gar hitting the transfer portal and going to Missouri. And then one last thing about Savion Byrd, I guess is a whole recruiting corner for offensive line. Savion Byrd did announce that he's going to announce his commitment on early signing day in December. So him and Bryce Foster will announce at that time. Both are still leaning towards Oklahoma, but Savion Byrd, you're going to have to watch out for LSU as being the number 2 there. And then with Bryce Foster, watching out for Texas A&M and Oregon, Texas A&M being a close second due to his strong family ties there. But Oklahoma at this point leads for both of them. So hopefully we can finish it off here in the next month moving forward. But other than that, there's nothing else, and that's the end of Cruton Corner.
Absolutely. Well, hey, solid developments. I'm very interested in Foster for sure. The man is a guy we need to get into Beatonbow. That is a first-round pick right there. So would love to have him on board for sure. Anyways, well, I think that's all we got for this week. Jam-packed 55-minute. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to us on your way to Thanksgiving or just at home hanging out, thank you so much for listening, and hope you all have a really good Thanksgiving out there. Now, here's the time of the show where I futilely ask y'all if y'all want to add anything before we go. Ty?
I was on mute. No, I think we covered a lot of stuff. We took a lot of time, so I hope you guys enjoyed listening. And here comes the best part of the week coming up whenever you guys hear it. The weekend.
We did get a comment real quick from somebody. I don't know who this is. Why would you blame OU for the Cowboys messing with tradition? Bobby, you want to take that? I gotta go take Ivy out right now. So
okay, yeah, hey, that's all good. Why would I blame OU?
We should just wrap it up.
I don't blame OU for it. I'm just saying, like, don't take it so seriously, folks. It's a football.
It's not a long season.
Is it directed at one of us specifically, or is it just everyone?
It's been since 2000, folks.
Yeah, it's not been that long of a tradition. And like we said, we're not blaming anybody. We're just saying this is a bad situation all and for all. There's no blame. In America, we like to say this is a winner and this is a loser. There doesn't have to be a winner and a loser in this situation because both sides are losers. Okay? End of story. All right, I'm going to take Ivy.
Here's the thing. You can blame OSU for it. You can just yell at him and be like, look at this dweeb. He let us have our fun. You can talk shit on him. You can make fun of him. But don't get physical. That's all I'm saying. Don't get physical. But that's all we have for this week's Schooner Pod. Thanks for listening. We will see you in a couple days when we release our weekend spread picks. And if you're listening live, hey, they're coming right up, folks. So with that being said, have a happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. And Boomer Sooner. Shoot. My little arrow was the wrong way.
I think we're still live.
We are. That's why
I don't know. I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen,
account 3480
Patterson.
Take a step back, take a look at your life, hug your children, kiss your wife, know your neighbor, leave the keys in your truck, do yourself a favor, try your luck. Take a step back, take a step back, take a step back, take a step back. Everybody stop where you're at, take a step back. Take a step back to the way it was when people were crazy. Love was enough. A little more old soul, a little more lay low. Give me just a little more of your heart. I said ready, set, start. Take a step back, take a step back, take a step back, take a step back. Everybody stop where you're at. Take a step back. No more tomorrows, no more today got away from it. Come on, bring it on home. 1, 2, 3, take a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back. Everybody stop where you're at. Take a step back. You know it. Take a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back. Take a step back. Everybody stop where you're at. Take a step back. Take a step back, take a step back, take a step back, take a step back. Everybody stop where you're at. Take a step back. Everybody stop where you're at. Take a step back. Everybody stop. Yes, sir. Take a step back.
Hello and welcome back to the weekend spread presented by the Schooner Pod. Please do not sue us, Gary Patterson. We are here to make our picks for this week. And guys, we finally have a shakeup in the rankings. It is
No, we don't.
a little bit. No, we
Not
do.
where it matters.
Okay, Ty retains his first place spot, but hey, there's a new number 2 in town. Who does number 2 work for? That's me, Bobby Howard, myself.
We all
Speaking of
technically
the
work
third
for
person,
you.
Okay, fair. For no
Well, if we
money.
were paid.
Okay, fair. I moved in a second. Hopped over Blake. Jameson keeps tumbling down. It just keeps going for him, and it's really sad to see the dice fall. Jameson, you and Blake had very similar picks this week. How did it feel riding with the dice for once?
Absolutely horrible because all the picks were trash too. Like it was just like, oh. But here's the deal. I'm glad that Blake fell down with me because it could have been really bad if I would have had a bad week and the dice went against me. So I just got to count my blessings there. It was another bad week. I just need to stay more constant moving up. You know what? Oh well. Stuff happens.
Let me say, Jameson, something else happened this weekend. Boko tested your faith, and you did not pass that test. You did not count on him.
I
That's
said
right.
this earlier. I do count on Boko because I want them to win. I don't care about my picks. I want Boko to succeed in life. I want Boko to do well. They've been there so long in college. I just want them to have some happiness. And it has been a direct correlation that whenever I pick Boko, they do not cover the spread. And whenever I don't, they do well. And what do you know? They beat Arkansas State this week. And I said it in the speech. I said, I can't pick Boko anymore. I'll let them do well. I'm displaying a selfless act here. I'm trying to do my best.
I got to say, Coastal Carolina's going down to San Marcos to play Boko. And I definitely entertained driving the 2 hours from Cypress, Texas to go see our beloved Boko, but got vetoed pretty quickly there. All right. Canva decided to fail on me here, so we are going without our banners. That's okay. Let's just get started with pick number 1. So, interesting week. The Friday games are actually the only good ones because I guess Thanksgiving. So let's just start off with our game of the week. It's Notre Dame at North Carolina. The Fighting Irish are favored by 4.5. Jameson, I'll let you get the first crack at this one. Are the Irish is this a pitfall for them, or do you think they pull through against the Tar Heels?
Well, thank you so much, Bobby, for letting me have the first crack on this one. I really appreciate it. So here's the deal. North Carolina has been a very popular pick between Ty and I. And Notre Dame has been a team that I've just not been sure about this year. North Carolina's burned me too much. I'm going to go Notre Dame. Is it minus 4.5 here moving forward?
Correct.
North Carolina burned me. I can't go back to the well. Give me Notre Dame.
Yeah, I get it. I have picked against Notre Dame at every cross in the road, every point, every chance I've gotten. But you know what? Sometimes magic just happens. And I got to say, this one's not for me. This one's for my guy, Maxwell Milligan, who I've been broadcasting on Locker Room, download Locker Room right now. My guy's been hyping this up for weeks. He has had this circled. He's been hyping up Sammy Howell for weeks. And you know what? I believe in the Tar Heels. So Maxwell, this is for you, buddy. Tar Heels, straight up. Jameson, what do you think?
You already asked Jameson.
Sorry.
I'll take no. So you guys both started with sort of a preamble on your history with Notre Dame this season. I've been the complete opposite. I think 2 of my wins that are both losses for you guys have been picking Notre Dame, unless one of them was a wild card. I'm not sure about my notes here. But yeah, Notre Dame has consistently surprised us, and I'm not sure what their overall record is against the spread, but they've not let me down this season. I'm going to continue to ride with them. It's 4.5. this is a Notre Dame team that beat Clemson. I understand, not the full Clemson, but this is a North Carolina team that lost to Florida State. And let's keep in mind who Florida State is recently, and UVA. And granted, those were both losses by 3 points. But those are teams that are not on the level of Notre Dame. And I would caution you guys in looking at this game. Some of the things that you guys said about Notre Dame, maybe, not having their full guard up or dropping a game. That's been some previous talking points that they've surprised us on. So I'm firmly with Notre Dame here. I like that 4.5 a lot. I would expect it to actually increase as the week goes on because we're recording Monday.
Gotcha. We're out here talking too much mess on the Irish. So let's move on. Look, this is a mainstay of every Thanksgiving weekend, a mainstay of every rivalry, especially in the South.
Let's go.
SEC. It's the biggest game. It's the Egg Bowl, baby. Mississippi State at Ole Miss. Ole Miss favored by 10. So I believe in one of our offseason podcasts, we said that if any game could be played, it would be the Egg Bowl with Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach. The day's here, folks. We got it. It's on the SEC network. The Cowards, it was so good. The Cowards didn't even want to put it on national TV. A little upset about that, but what can you do? So naturally, we got to give the first pick to our guy from Mississippi.
I'm not from Mississippi.
Well, you came
I'm
to
from Nichols Hills.
You came to OKC. You came to Norman from Mississippi. You have a Mississippi. Do you still have the Mississippi license plate? I'm not sure.
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I do. Yeah.
And you're from Mississippi. We're gonna call it. You're from Mississippi. So Ty, you get the honors. First pick of picking the Egg Bowl.
Yeah. So just to clarify, what are we picking this one at? Did you have the line at 10?
I have Ole Miss at 10 currently.
Okay,
it's courtesy of the Howard Sportsbook over here.
It's 9.5 on ESPN right now, but either one is fine. Let's not play the. We're recording on Monday, so I'm sure it's going to be different. So with the Schooner Pod 10-point line, not that 9.5 or 10 matters when we count pushes as wins. So Mississippi State 2-5. One of those wins against LSU, the other one against. I have no idea. Ole Miss is 3-4, so slightly better. It's what is there to say about this game? I think that Mike Leach is a better coach. Obviously, they really didn't do bad. I think they covered against Georgia last week. They only lost 31-24, which is not bad for a team that lost to Vandy. Got blown out by Bama, got blown out by Texas A&M, got blown out by a Stoops brother at Kentucky, and then everything else. But they beat the defending national champions. I have torn allegiances both ways. I'm gonna go. I'm not even gonna read up on ESPN. I'm gonna take Mississippi State +10.
Got it. Hey, just rolling with Leach. I get that. And that's honestly where I'm going. Look, I like Lane as much as the next guy. Joey Freshwater always cracks me up. But you know what? I don't know. This is a toss-up to me. I don't know a ton about either team. And look, this is the type of game Mike Leach wins. He wins these weird, rivalry type games that, I don't know. He comes through at the opportune moments to save his job, save his hide. And I think he does that here. So yeah, give me Mississippi State to win and cover this.
So you have them outright.
I have them outright, but for the purpose,
I know it doesn't affect the pod.
Yeah. I have this being pretty close. So
Jamison, we are setting you up to make a comeback here. We're handing the comeback to you on a platter. It's up to you to take it. This is your red pill, blue pill moment right now.
No.
No, I've been burned on going against the grain before, but I'm just going to go with what I think is going to happen. This is too big of a storybook moment of Lane Kiffin versus, the pirate himself, of who's going to win this wonderful, wonderful game of the Egg Bowl. And the storyline is not going to let it be a blowout. It's hard for me to see, Mississippi State losing by more than 10. It's just hard for me. And I understand Mississippi State's been really, really flat this year in some games. There we go.
I got him up. Canva finally came through for me.
So are we doing? Are we going to do 9.5 or are we going to do 10?
Well, okay. I guess my graphic says 9.5.
Okay, but it's identical for the
doesn't change to me.
purposes.
It could hurt. It could hurt some people.
Okay, for the purposes of this, we're going to go 9.5. I still have Mississippi State. Ty, do you still have Mississippi State?
Well, I picked Mississippi State, and then you gave me a better line for Mississippi State.
Okay, good point. Wait, that's a worse line.
It's identical for the Schooner blog's purposes.
Valid point. My Google won't go away. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I still have State. Give me the dogs.
I'm picking Mississippi State here. The storyline's just too much. It's just not going to be a blowout from what I see. Yeah.
The scrappy dogs.
And I genuinely think that this game, at least for the next 2 years, while we have both coaches there, I think that this game's going to be a lot more interesting when Leach can get some more of his, fingerprints on that Mississippi State program. Because it was really, it got a lot better, significantly better under Dan Mullen. Obviously, that's why he has a fat contract at Florida. And then it dropped off when he left, and Leach is kind of picking up the pieces. They will get better. I honestly believe that. Ole Miss, I think they got, I think this is about their ceiling.
Well, look at Mike Leach's first seasons, at Texas Tech. Look at his first season at Washington State. It's always a bumpy ride at first, but he always gets it together. So give the man some time.
He recruits well. If he could get people to come to Washington State from like California and stuff, he can get some people at Mississippi State.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on to our first Big 12 game, and boy, is it a doozy. TCU at Kansas. 7 o'clock, primetime Les Miles, Fox Sports 1. TCU's favored by 24.5. Jameson, I ask you this every week. Is this too many points for TCU to cover against Kansas?
Sorry, people, it ain't. TCU's covering. Keep on fading Kansas. Next.
I'm going to do something I really can't believe I'm doing. Give me Kansas. The Jayhawks. Look, hold on, folks. The Jayhawks have this weird thing with TCU where they always find a way to keep it close. And sometimes, in one case, outright won. I believe one time I called an outright Kansas win. The last time they were in Lawrence. And guess what? They won as like 13-point dogs. This is a bad TCU team. Gary Patterson's going to sue us anyways, so I'm just going to say whatever I want. Give me Kansas to cover 24.5. I can't believe I did that. But again, I will always make an exception for these TCU games. So Jayhawks, get the cover. There you go.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to – here's the thing. This one is rough because it is Kansas. And it's, I've been burned one too many times by Kansas. So I think we all know where this is going, but I do want to dive a little bit into this. TCU is not doing great this year when it comes to putting up points, and this line really worries me. So TCU is currently averaging 24 points a game and also allowing 26 points a game. So that's not great. They're averaging like high 300 yards a game, which I guess isn't that bad. But when you look at their wins and losses, they have not played a team as bad as Kansas for sure, but they're allowing a lot of points to teams that don't really score a lot of points. And they're not that great at putting up points. So it's very, very, very concerning to me, but I've been burned for way too many weekends and seasons by Kansas. So I agree with Jameson. Fade Kansas here, but this one starting to get sketchy for the reasons that you said, Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely untrustworthy. I don't trust either of them. Ivy has made her appearance on the podcast. Let's go. We are having some technical difficulties, apparently. I blame it all on the Gary Patterson song. But
Are
we're
we?
all good now. I don't know. Apparently we are. We've been at 0 viewers, which I know, not a shock.
That's not a technical difficulty, Bob.
No. Gary also said she's just had like this weekend spread loading screen on. There you go. Okay, it's not she's in Kansas. If you can
No
hear
one
me
is
correctly,
watching. It must be
right.
a technical difficulty. This concert is world class.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Let's just keep rolling on them. All right, we got Kansas at Baylor.
K-State.
K-State. Kansas State at Baylor.
He's
What do I
horrible.
oh God, every time. K-State at Baylor. 6 o'clock on ESPN2. The Bears favored by 5. So little tricky here because Baylor really down in the dumps this season. Their only win, I believe, has been against Kansas. So tough spot here. Ty, do you see this as a bit of fool's gold if you're picking K-State, or do you think it's the truth?
Yeah, I don't know. So just quick note, I just tried to pull it up. I was able to get on the live, so maybe tell everyone to hop off and then retry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so is this a typo by you? I'm sorry, I was reading up on it. Is Baylor actually favored here?
Baylor is favored by 5 points. This is for real.
How is a 1-5 team favored against a 4-4? This is obvious.
Kansas State just got the length.
Certainly I'm missing something here, right? Like it's in Waco, not a tough place to play. I've got to be missing something here, but give me K-State. I'm not even ashamed to pick that. I think this is an obvious K-State pick here, and if I don't get it, then I can be like, oh, I didn't know that half their team had decommitted or something. Yeah, give me K-State. Baylor sucks.
Look, I totally get fading K-State, but this is Baylor, folks. Baylor is so bad. I have honestly gotten so many picks this year off of just fading Baylor. So give me K-State here. Look, this could be fool's gold for all I know. But what I do know for a fact is that Baylor is bad, and they are way overrating the Bears here compared to a very not good Kansas State team right now. That being said, they're better than Baylor. Baylor is trash, folks.
Dude, did you watch Iowa State versus K-State last week?
Yeah, it was a
you want to talk trash? I haven't seen Baylor play that trash in any game this year. That is bad. I understand 5-point favorite. You're a little concerned there. But I saw not a lick of anything good from that game. 45 points to Iowa State. Embarrassing. 0 points. 0. How do you recover from that? Give me Baylor -5. I know that you guys – I've been on the wrong side of Baylor a lot of times this season. How do I pick K-State? There's nothing there. Legitimately nothing. I understand there's a sliver of hope with Baylor. There's a sliver. Just a sliver. K-State 45-0. That is embarrassing.
I just know like Chris Kleiman I just have a feeling he'll find a way here, honestly. It might be misleading because, again, K-State was so bad. But I don't know. I just really don't trust Baylor as much as I trust Kansas State to figure something out. But that's about it. Moving on, our next game on the slate, Texas Tech traveling to Stillwater as the Cowboys look to pick up the pieces after their Bedlam loss.
Iowa State's the favorite in this one?
Okay, that's a typo. Sorry.
They would be, though.
Oklahoma State, I believe, still is an 11-point favorite somehow. Let me double-check that.
Yeah.
They were 11 and a half last I saw.
Bang. There we go.
At the end of the first quarter, you're going to hear –
I have it. Oklahoma State, 11.5-point favorite.
At the end of the first quarter, you're going to hear Matt Campbell's music, and they're going to come out of the tunnel. Yeah, you can never say that we're anti-Iowa State because I just said that they would beat both the best parts of Tech, which is only their person on a horse, and Oklahoma State combined.
The best parts about Oklahoma State are also their person on a horse, though. So,
yeah. Well,
either way.
Jimmy's.
Jameson, do you think Oklahoma State will rebound here, get a solid win against a pretty middling Texas Tech team?
I think they've got to, and I think they will moving forward. It's just Texas Tech's hard to pick, and they show up some games, they don't with others. I feel like versus Baylor a couple weeks ago, they did pretty decent, but in other games, it's just been very off. Oklahoma State going back home can get their composure back and move forward. I think they can get a 11-point win here, or a 12-point win moving forward. So I'll take OSU.
Look, Texas Tech is not a very good football team. I still just keep. I have that disarray, that awful game they played against OU just burned into my retinas. Sure they beat Baylor, whatever, but in general, I think that is closer to the real Texas Tech than anything good we've seen out of them. So give me Oklahoma State here. That's a pretty easy line to me. Could be wrong, but Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, so Tech's, if you take all their games this season, they're averaging losing by 11 points. So seems like a pretty obvious take here. I still think that Oklahoma State is not as bad as OU made them look, and I think that they're going to come prepared in Stilley, and I don't know that it's going to be an absolute stomping, but I think that 11 points should not be a challenge against this Texas Tech squad.
I think that's very, very good take right there. Moving on to another game on Friday that is exciting, and I'm honestly taking an extra long lunch break for. Iowa State at Texas, a battle between two ranked teams. This is going to decide. This has massive Big 12 championship implications. The winner is probably in the the favorite to play OU, assuming the Sooners win out in the Big 12 championship. So, Ty, I gotta ask because let's get down to the nitty gritty first. 11 a.m. Friday, ABC. The Horns are favored by 2. Will it be horns up, or are you going to go against your old adversaries?
Oh no! First, let me say, an 11 a.m. ABC game, really?
On Friday.
This is okay. Well, does that mean we have a different announcing crew? Because this is like probably one of the best games this week.
Yeah,
I hope it's not a bad announcing crew. Well, so I just wanted to ask you, so who as I don't think this is going to influence my pick, but who should OU fans be rooting for here? Is it Iowa State? Because I'm pretty sure if Iowa State wins, they're more or less a lock, even if they drop their West Virginia game. I think Iowa State's in if they win this one.
I can play scenarios if you want me to play scenarios, Bobby, because it's
really can we touch on that? Because I think that's really important for
Jameson,
our fan base.
I think you know the scenarios a little bit better than us.
There's two just specifically for this game.
OU wins out, they're in. That's, I think, set, right? Am I right on that?
The thing is, there's some people that are saying that, and there's some people that are not. But just play this scenario with me. I don't see how there's any way we're not in if we win out. So say if Iowa State goes on and wins this game, and we win out, we're probably playing Iowa State. But if Texas wins, that would put Iowa State at a 2-loss in the conference. That'd put Texas at a 2-loss in the conference. And then Texas still has to play they still have to play Kansas and Kansas State after this. Then Iowa State has to play West Virginia. So that would be a 3-way tie. And I think there is certain tiebreaker scenarios to where since we got beat by Iowa State, we beat Texas, and then Texas beat Iowa State, that it could be kind of a similar of that Texas Tech, Texas, OU 3-way tie scenario there moving forward.
Well,
no.
Well, the problem with that was it was determined by BCS standings. This is determined by point differential, which gets down a little tough.
Is that officially how it's done? Is it?
Yeah.
It's written that it's point diff?
Yeah, it is written that it's point differential, which, again, OU lost to Iowa State by 7 only, and then beat Texas by 7. So the Horns beat Iowa State
by 7. What do we do? It's at that point we have to be conspiracy theory-esque, but is it a money thing? Does it become a Texas OU game because money?
We beat Texas by 8, actually. Never mind. So
Okay.
that's wow. That 2-point conversion could mean a lot. If Texas beats Iowa State by 7, then it becomes a 2-way tie between us and Iowa State, and they have that.
That's not a
tiebreaker
2-way
over
time
us.
if you have it.
No, it'd be a 3-way tie still.
Yeah,
You
it's a
can't-
3.
You can't like break like the 3-way tie. Say like, okay, this guy had the better point differential. Now we're going to go back to the original head-to-head to decide the 2-way tie within the 3-way tie. I think you'd make the best point differential, the best 2-point differential teams.
Well,
And then there's going to be a separate category after that wouldn't be head-to-head if the point differential is tied.
there is no 2-way tie scenario though, right? Because
No, that's what Bobby was saying.
2 people play in the game though.
Texas would have to beat Iowa State by more than 7 or more than 8, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to beat Iowa State by more than 8 in order to take precedent in that 3-way tie. And then it would come down to, I believe, our differential with Iowa State, which we do not really pass. But I'm not really sure on that. It's really just a lot up in the air. You still play the games. There's still a lot to go on. But do you think Texas gets this win? Is a big question, I guess.
Yeah. So okay. I really don't. It's hard to say. So Iowa State, obviously, they're hanging their hat on that win against OU. But they also lost, and I don't think a lot of people remember this at this point. But they lost to, what was it, like Louisiana Lafayette or something?
Louisiana Lafayette and Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and then they lost to Oklahoma State, only by 3 points, like a month ago. But I think that this Iowa State team has been pretty much the same team all year, and I think that this Texas team has also been more or less the same all year. And I think, I don't want people to come after us and say, that we're downing on Iowa State again, but I think that Iowa State might be hanging their hat on a win that's not necessarily as good as it seems, especially when we consider the OU team that they played. Because other than that, their wins are TCU, who's not good this year, Tech, who's not good this year, Kansas hasn't won a game, Baylor only beat Kansas, and then, they did blow out Kansas State who beat us. So I don't know where I'm really going with this, but this one's hard. But
that Kansas State team is also significantly worse than the team that beat us in Norman. I think.
So I think in conclusion, I don't know that there's a good way to pick this one, but I've got to ride with Texas here. So hook 'em. I think that Texas is going to outcoach them, and I think that maybe the home field might play a little bit of a factor. But I think Texas is coming into this wanting to play for that Big 12 championship. But I also would rather play Iowa State in the championship if OU goes, mostly because I just don't like cheapening, the rivalry game. I'm not concerned about either one at this point.
Yeah, taking a look at our peanut gallery, Chris over here, my co-host of Rival Talk, wants to hammer the horns. You all know about that. He's pumped. And then my dad, it's an over bet. So don't know the over under. We don't really do those much on this show.
I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, pull that up for me real quick. Man, this is honestly as tough of a matchup as we've had all season. Because Iowa State, very solid team. Offensively, they got it together. Defensively, they're great. And this is a tough scenario for them. But you know what? I think they beat Texas here. Texas has been kind of rolling by on the skin of their teeth all season long. I think if you really look at it, the fact that they're even ranked, ranked at all is kind of crazy because they're just, let's look at their last 5. Skate by a mediocre West Virginia team. Oklahoma State hands them a victory. Baylor, they go down to the wire with a bad Baylor team. And then they lose to, I mean, just look at that. Like that's not exactly a resounding rebound from a tough start. So I think Texas is definitely a paper tiger here. And I think Iowa State is a good enough team. They're a polished team. and they're going to be clicking on all cylinders. Give me the Cyclones to get a win here. And I also would like to say, in terms of teams who we want to play, in terms of who we think we'd win, OU would beat the crap out of Texas if they played them again. Iowa State, I still think the Sooners win against the Clones. But it's definitely a tougher game, improves the resume a little bit. And also, that is great podcasting content because we get those Iowa State fans back again, and I will welcome them with open arms to talk all of the mess. So
Yeah,
I'm here for that.
It looks like I just pulled it up. If I'm reading it right on OddsShark, the over is 52.
I'm going to go under there. I actually think I'm going to go under there.
Might be reading that. A lot of people are taking it though. So we'll see.
I think that's a sneaky under. Texas doesn't score as much as people think they do, and Iowa State is solid enough defensively. I can see that being a weird game. I'm going to go under with that. But Jameson,
yeah, so they have it 31 to 27 in Iowa State's favor is the sort of consensus.
Jameson, are you going to go horns up or go with our least favorite state in the entire union?
You know, I love picking storylines, and yes, I would love to see OU Iowa State rematch. But moving forward with this is really, really tough, and this is just like a game that I kind of just want to watch and just enjoy because I think it'll be really entertaining football the day after Thanksgiving, right in the morning. You know, starting off a great day on that Friday, on Black Friday. But having to pick a side, I'm going to go Iowa State. No horns up today. Unfortunately, sorry, Bobby. I know Bobby gets a kick out of it every single time. He has a little smirk every single. I'm kidding.
I'll do one for you, Jameson. Here's the double.
Yes. Here's the big thing with Iowa State moving forward. It's momentum. And Texas, while they have won their games, I don't feel like they have a lot to put their back on and say like we've done really well. I feel good coming into this game. Iowa State has great confidence coming into this game. Breece Hall is playing like the best running back in the country right now. And that's honestly just stunning in a league that we had Travis Etienne. So yeah, give me Iowa State to win this game.
Yeah, I think either way you pick this one, it's going to be a close, great game. I'm very, very thankful that we have that, on its own, not competing with other games. That's the game. You don't have to flip between a bunch of them, and that's going to be fun. So moving on to the actual game of the week, the one that everybody wants to watch. It's OU at West Virginia. The Sooners traveling to Morgantown. It's another 6:30 primetime ABC matchup. Sooners favored by 11.5 last time I got them. So, Jameson, I'll let you kickstart this one. Do the Sooners get the cover in Morgantown?
So West Virginia has kept games close and been very competitive this year because of their defense, and they've held things in check. But they've not gone up against an offense like OU. How are they going to handle this offensive powerhouse? Can their defense show up and actually do well? We've seen good defensive teams like, in Iowa State do well versus their offense, but we're a completely different team. Spencer Rattler's definitely come to be more comfortable, and everyone likes to say ever since the benching of him in that Texas game, he's been a completely different quarterback. And it's true. I think we'll get Stogner back by then. And if he continues on with this, calm, not making as many turnovers, just running the ball with Ramondre Stevenson, I think OU wins by 2 touchdowns here and gets the cover.
I think that's the key to the game. Ramondre Stevenson being steady, avoiding that. Honestly, West Virginia is going to find a way to be crazy and make this game loud, even with the minimized, fans, if they even have them out there. It's West Virginia, so I assume they're going to put people out there anyways. So really, if this was a normal Morgantown game, I'd be probably leaning towards the Mountaineers on this cover. But I think OU, the way they're playing, in the style of play they have, where they're steady, they're solid, give me the Sooners to cover this one. I don't think it's going to be a big blowout or anything. I don't think it's going to be like a mega cover, but I think they cover it. So give me the Sooners here. Ty?
Can that be a Yes, can that be a new Schooner Pod meta thing? The mega cover.
The mega cover. Oh man,
I
just
don't know.
like
We gotta define it. So like if you cover, like if you like double the cover or something like that, the mega cover.
if you cover by the highest points that like Bovada will allow you to tack on, then you
No,
get
that
your
would be like
undercover.
the ultra cover. We're gonna make tiers. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but I did a lot of analysis in our. Well, not a lot of. I didn't do any analysis.
No one
I
did.
said the same thing that I'm about to say in our game preview, and that's I don't think that we've seen two different West Virginia teams this year. I don't think either one is a threat to this OU team at this point, even if there is a little bit of a hangover from the OSU game. I don't think that 11 and a half is going to be an issue for this OU team, and I think that it should be a relatively easy cover. But this is a game I always enjoy. I'm actually really surprised by that time slot now, looking at it. But yeah, OU's got the momentum right now. We're firing on all cylinders, and I always like the West Virginia games. I just think that aesthetically it's kind of pleasing. The colors out there, they're kind of red and white versus blue and yellow. It's kind of a cool clear matchup. West Virginia, cool place to play. I've never played there, but it's always cool. It snows there sometimes. Probably won't this time, but they care about this one. I think it'll be chippy between the players, but I think we easily get a cover here. So not the mega cover, but I think we're gonna get a cover here.
Yeah, nobody's on the mega cover. We need to.
We don't even know what the mega cover is.
We need to define the mega cover.
We know what's out there.
Give OU the mega cover this week. Bring it. I'll take this. I'll take it. I'll eat.
We
the
gotta
trash.
define it. We're gonna figure out a way to define it so that it can actually be bet on if someone wants, like something like 1.5 times the cover or something like that.
Yeah, we need to work on this. This is a great idea. I love it, but I think we're all in unison here. It's the Sooners covering this game. Maybe not mega cover, but they're covering. Now for my favorite pick of the week. It's the wild card. And for the wild card, look, the season's running low, folks. It's sad. I can't believe it. College football is already nearing December. It's nuts. So with this little time I have remaining in college football, I got to celebrate it with the team who got me here, the team who's gotten me so many wins and brought me so much joy.
So many joy.
I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina minus 17 with Chanticleers, the
Too soon.
Chickens against, guess who? Boko. Yeah, Texas State. Coastal Carolina is going to slaughter Texas State this weekend, and I can't wait for it. I'm so excited. I've been fading Texas State ever since they crushed my little heart at the Cotton Bowl, where they got slaughtered as some dumb team. But you know what?
Troy, I think, or something.
It was Troy. They failed to beat Troy. Coastal Carolina is going to cover 17. Easy. That is such a low line. It's ridiculous. Give me Coastal to get the first ever Schooner Pod mega cover. I don't even know what it is yet, but I'm giving it to them. Coastal by 1 billion.
Oh, man.
How do you feel about that?
So excited to see Boko. Boko's going to come out with a touchdown within 10 seconds, then blow the lead and lose by like 40. In total Boko fashion. I feel like every single time when we played, yes, it was the way. They played BYU and I picked them to cover versus BYU. They scored 7-0 within 10 seconds. I go, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. And it was a damn 9:30 game. And I wake up the next morning, it was like 52-14. I was like, oh, this is so bad. Yeah, I definitely saw Coastal as a pretty good pick for Boko there. But I have laid no hands on Boko since then, and I will continue to do that so Bobby can also get screwed up. So I was very, very perplexed and interested to see an old Schooner blog, Schooner Pod thing of putting North Carolina on the slate. this week. It was something that we hadn't seen in a while. We've seen it every single week moving forward. It's like, oh, look, it's North Carolina. So I said, let's go back to the days of what happened when North Carolina was picking. Those were times where we were talking. It was simpler times. We were talking about birds with teeth and scrappy dogs, and a lot more. I'm not getting too nervous about listening to TCU's fight song, and here I am getting a little nervous thinking about TCU's fight song. So let's go back to the simpler times. I want to make myself think that I'm back in the birds with teeth era and pick against the birds with teeth. They're playing the Eagles, the most patriotic bird in all of America. Boston College, a 1-point favorite, playing Birds with Teeth of Louisville at home, coming off a Notre Dame game. They kept it somewhat close. They didn't cover the spread, but they kept it somewhat close for Notre Dame versus spread. And Birds with Teeth, they're like, oh, Birds with Teeth, they just came off a 30-0 win versus Syracuse. It was Syracuse. Stop. Give me Boston College to beat Birds with Teeth. -1.
Hey, toothless birds beating birds with teeth. I like it. I like it a lot. Birds don't have teeth. Go with the anatomically correct bird. So, Ty, I'm sure you have some good for us. Do you have? Give us the football pick, and then maybe after the show you can drop your Swedish football knowledge on us if you want. But what is it? What do we got? What do we got?
So one, just to clarify, it was Swiss football, and my prediction was completely wrong. The team that was -1 lost by 2 goals.
Young boys.
So, yeah. So the young boys did end up winning that one. Sad day. But anyways, today actually, and this is funny because I don't know if you remember the game that I threw a fit about having to pick. And then ended up getting right, and then went on my monologue about the Swiss Super League, and it was because you put a USC game on the slate. but I have not got one wrong this year, so I'm going back to the well. This week, USC 3-0 is playing the 2-0 Colorado Buffaloes, pretty much the Pac-12 championship at this point. So we're gonna. The line currently on ESPN as of 10 o'clock on Monday is USC -13.5. And this one had me conflicted because I knew I wanted to pick it. And I knew I had a knack for USC games, but it's not always for or against. I faded them against Arizona State, nailed that one. And then I went with them against Utah and nailed that one. Colorado has been allowing 37 points a game on average against a not great UCLA team, a not great Stanford team. And I'm saying that because they don't have numbers next to their names on ESPN. And I just really feel like USC's averaging 470 yards a game. I'm not saying they're back. This is not a pro USC podcast or monologue whatsoever. But the average numbers, they don't have a common opponent. The average numbers and the fact that USC has some way higher end athletes really lead me to believe that this game, being at USC, is going to be a pretty easy, not a pretty easy cover. Give me USC here. I don't know. It's kind of hectic. Give me USC.
Okay, USC. Gotcha. We have a little spicy take here. North Carolina money line coming in from my dad. All righty. He's on the UNC train, as are we, but also USC. There you go. All righty. Well, that's all the picks we have for today. So thank you all so much for watching. If you watched it live, if you watched it on replay, hey, thanks for that too. So, yeah, anything y'all want to say before we peace out? Probably not. Yeah, no, that's
Nope.
okay. We should do a backup, but I also didn't plan for that. So,
second wild card.
No, not a second wild card. Just we'll pause for a second. There's got to be one in here that's good for
the Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl.
Oh yeah, I guess the Iron Bowl. Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
I guess we should pick the Iron Bowl.
Oh no! All right. The line is -24 Bama.
All
Are
right.
you gonna make a graphic?
No, I'm not going to do that. That's Yeah, -24 Bama. Okay, Ty, you start.
All right, so in case of emergency, break glass, break out the Iron Bowl take. So here's the Iron Bowl take. 5-2 Auburn, 7-0 Bama. Absolutely going to win the national championship this year. It's pretty obvious at this point. The spread is -24 Bama. It's at Bama. It's one of those 2:30 SEC games, so we don't get to see all their cool lasers that they never use. But this one's rough. Auburn's allowing like 400 something yards a game. They're also allowing 22 points a game. Bama's been averaging 50 points a game. I think Bama. Give me Bama here. I think they're going to embarrass the whatever they are. They have one mascot that's a tiger. One's an eagle. They need to work on that. They need to streamline their branding. But yeah, give me Bama. Give me the either elephants or high tide, whatever it is. What is it? Can these guys pick a branding?
I don't know, man. Okay, I'm just picking my pick here. Look, Auburn's bad or very overrated at least. Game's not at Jordan Hare. And Alabama's clicking. So, yeah, give me the Tide to cover this because, yeah, come on. This is easy, I think. The line's pretty high, so I wouldn't bet it or anything, but I'm going to trust Alabama at home over Auburn, who is not even that great. This is definitely a down Malzahn year. He'll probably bounce back and beat Alabama next year and make a run or whatever because that's what Gus Malzahn does. But this year, it ain't it for Auburn. So give me Alabama here. Jameson?
Yeah, this one, Alabama's a smart pick. I picked Tennessee versus Auburn for my wild card last week, and Auburn was going to go for it on a 4th down to just seal out the game. They called timeout at the last second and then brought their field goal team, kicked a 50-yard field goal for the cover. Hurt me deep down. It really hurt. There was some pain on that one. And from what I was following the game, as our game was going on, dude, Auburn's rush defense is pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. They have up 173 yards rushing, and they won by 13. Like, what? Like, that's not going to fly. Alabama is just going to stomp them. Give me Alabama by 4 touchdowns.
Well, I'm glad we're agreed on that, but cool. Well, that's all I have for this week.
I do have something to say for closing comments.
Okay.
Finally, something valuable to say.
Is it going to be a long pause and then not?
No. I promise it's not. Your dad just commented. He said Tulsa game. It's Tulsa versus Houston. The line is 1 point. Absolute drop on one of us to not get that as the pick of the week.
It was a pick of the week for a while, and I retracted it because I'm like, no, that's too Schooner potty. And then I put the Orange Bowl on.
I like Houston.
The Egg Bowl. The Egg Bowl.
You're just picking the winner. You're picking the winner.
Look, I'm going to go with Tulsa here. They find a way, and I don't trust Dana.
This is our second backup. Second backup. I'll go
second
Houston.
backup. All right, give me
second
Tulsa.
Backup. Second backup. I'm going Tulsa as well.
Yeah,
okay, I'll say
Oklahoma for sure.
Tulsa has not looked good in these past 3 or 4 games. They really have not.
They find a way, Jameson.
I know, and you cannot always rely on finding a way. So I'm gonna go Houston. Exactly.
They needed a pick 6 and a Hail Mary on 4th down.
Exactly.
It's so funny, but they're gonna find a way. They always do. Alrighty. All right, I think we're actually done here. So
yeah.
Hey, if you listen to this live, thank you so much. If you're listening to this on our recap, our podcast, which most people listen to anyways, thank you for listening. And we will see you next week when we pick the final week of the regular season for Oklahoma and for a couple other teams not in the Pac-12 and Big Ten, I guess. But anyways, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you all have had a great Thanksgiving. I'm not sure when I aired this, so hope you do have a good Thanksgiving if that's the alternative. But we'll see you next week. Happy picking.